All right, all right. Welcome back to another Tenement TV. I'm Zach. I'm here with Sal, and we have a jam-packed show to get through here today on this Thursday, August 29th. Sal, how are we doing?
Hey man, how you doing, bro? Everything's good on my end. Been a busy week. Happy to be back here on Tenement TV. Bringing you all the sports news, picks, the whole works. Tenement Alpha as well. So yeah, really excited about today.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had a little bit of a dry spell here on the sports calendar for, as we've referenced over and over again, but we're here. We're at the finish line now. We got a bunch of college football games tonight. We got a full slate of college football this weekend, and then we are right into the NFL season next week, and then it's off to the races. Then we're right back. We are so back right now.
Oh yeah,
I'm not a summer is over guy. I refuse to say that, but as far as the sports calendar goes, uh, summer's over in that regard. So
yeah,
we're
yeah. We're,
happy to
we're
say that.
officially back. We're back.
Yeah, we're so back. We're so back. Yeah, everybody's got fantasy drafts jammed in, I'm sure, over the next several days. And like I said, I mean, we had week 0 college football last week, but I don't know. That doesn't really count for me. It's Georgia Tech against Florida State being played in Ireland doesn't really get the juices flowing. But this Saturday, when everyone's in action, and then we'll get into some other bigger games that we have coming up. Between tonight, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I mean, we have college football every night for the next 4 or 5 nights in a row. So, like you said, we are absolutely back. But so we'll start here today is we're going to recap some of the bigger storylines that are going on in the sports landscape. Starting with last night, Caitlin Clark set the 3-point record for a rookie in a single season. She has 88 made 3-pointers in 31 games. Really just adding on to a list of endless accolades that she's accomplished this season, not even through her entire first year. Um, you know, and she already set the rookie assist season record about 30 or so, not even 30 games in, had 19 assists in one game, which was an all time record. And, despite all these records, she's only shooting 33% on her threes right now compared to her career average at Iowa, which was almost 38%. So scary to think things actually could be better than what they have been right now for Caitlin Clark. But I mean, think about it, like, it was just a few short months ago when this season started. She started the first game of the year with 10 turnovers, and everybody, started piling on. Oh, well, here the lights are too bright here for Caitlin. And when will they learn, Sal?
No, they'll never learn, man. She's the real deal. And if there was any doubt about that after that, that first week, man, she's put that to rest very, very, very quickly. Like for her to come out and be this good, like actually surpasses rookie expectations in my mind. Like I knew she was going to be good. She was going to be fine. She's going to be a game changer in the WNBA. I thought she would have obviously massive games this season, but for her to be playing this well, like at this, like in this caliber, like this is crazy. She's literally changing the game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, there was obviously a lot of controversy early on and comparisons and, oh, the Olympic drama. And, there's the Angel Reese drama and all that, which, ultimately it's a lot of media noise, the way I see it. But, at the end of the day, she just came off of the March Madness run deep into the tournament. The crazy part is their season starts almost immediately because of the juxtaposition of like the normal basketball season for college versus like the WNBA plays in the summer as opposed to the men playing in the fall and winter. So, I mean, it was like there was no off season. It was straight into the season. And on top of that, the Fever had an unprecedented jammed up schedule. I don't remember the exact, but it was something crazy. I mean, they played, it was 10 games in like, 18 days, or it was something insane. I mean, they played their first like 10 or 11 games before teams like the Aces had only played, 5 or 6 games. So the schedule was ridiculously front loaded. Um, Now they've kind of hit their groove a little bit. The team's kind of starting to play better. And we're honestly, what we're seeing is just one, probably, if not the best women's basketball player on the planet. Certainly no worse than top five. And kind of starting to show out and get into a comfort zone and playing with new teammates, playing with an entirely new team. And I mean, me personally, I'm excited to continue watching. Um, I've been to a couple Fever games, and it's a completely different energy than it used to be. I can promise you that.
Yeah, man. I would love to go to a Fever game, man, just to experience it. But literally watching like the Steph Curry of the WNBA, like that's how she's changing the game. Like, and we've seen. I don't. I wish I had the graphic, but there's this graphic showing her average 3-point shot distance, which is like a full like foot behind, or maybe even more than like the distance that Steph Curry or Dame Lillard shoots at, right? And which obviously could be contributing, like those deep threes could be contributing to the decline in her 3-point percentage. But all things considered, like she's changing the game, like the spacing that she's creating for her teammates, the whole works. She's definitely climbing that like, you're talking about best player in the game type ranking. She's definitely up there. Obviously, I still give it to maybe AJ Wilson. There's some other names up there who have been absolutely killing it, like ridiculous stat lines. But Caitlin Clark will be up there very, very soon.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And like I said, I mean, this was a team that they had the number one pick in the WNBA draft 2 years in a row. So this was a very, very bad team who is now very, very much firmly in the playoff picture. They're going to be in the playoffs, and I think it'll be fun to see how things play out. Last night I was kind of looking around because as they beat um, who they beat an upper team. They've been kind of knocking off some better teams. Like they beat Connecticut last night, and I thought, I wonder what their title odds are looking like. And I mean, I found them as high as 40-1 and as low as 18-1. So obviously there are varying opinions on what they can kind of accomplish in the postseason, but I'm not going to act like a WNBA expert, but I don't know. I don't know that we'll ever see Caitlin Clark at a 40-1 to win the title, probably again for the rest of her career.
Yeah,
I'd go out on a limb and go out and say that. So
yeah, they're just sitting under 500 right now. What does a playoffs WNBA playoffs look like? Do you know the format?
the top 8 teams make it, so they have a pretty high likelihood they're going to get in. I mean, I think I was looking their playoff probability. They were in the like 94, 95% as of this morning. So
Right.
they're going to be in.
Yeah.
I think right now it's kind of more about, hey, are they going to be able to get, a higher seed to maybe have home court for their first matchup? But I think the top teams are pretty much locked in as far as Vegas, New York, Seattle, Connecticut. Those are, I think, your pretty clear top four, unless I'm leaving someone out. But
Minnesota, I think.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm not sure if you said that, but
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm looking at the
Um,
standings now. You got New York, Minnesota, Connect. I can never say Connecticut, but Las Vegas, and then sorry, Seattle, and then Las Vegas. And those teams are like sitting at 18 plus wins. The top three are pretty much locked into where they are. And then you've got some competition for like the bottom 5, 6, 7. And then 8, like from 8 onwards is like a significant drop off. Like Chicago Sky's in that 8 spot. And then you've got 9, like then there's there's a significant drop off there where those teams are sitting at like 11 wins, way under 500, and one of those teams is going to make the playoffs, which is kind of wild. If anything, that tells me that WNBA really needs expansion because those type of teams should not be making the playoffs.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. And I believe this weekend, the Fever have another matchup here coming up with the Sky. So we'll get all the Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark storylines fired up again. I'm sure.
Yeah, Angel Reese is definitely catching some flack online about her insane rebounding numbers, but with a significant percentage of those coming from her own misses, which is absolutely wild. Like her finishing around the rim percentage was like absurdly low. Now she eventually gets a bucket. She just takes three opportunities to do it, and collects all those offensive rebounds. I mean, like I get the hate. She is a great rebounder, but like she is padding those stats a little bit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, she brings a lot of that hate on herself. Like let's be honest, like she kind of embraces that villain role a little bit. But yeah, the finishing skills maybe could be a little bit more refined. The rebounding skills, or at least the height advantage, is certainly there. But yeah, it's. I saw there was she took a 3-point shot a couple days ago that just hit nothing but backboard, and I can't imagine many people are going to be rushing out to the 3-point line to close out.
Yeah,
Next time she's out on the perimeter, but
yeah,
yeah, I mean, it's just it was a good storyline. It's been a good debate. The whole Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark. It was good at the beginning, but I mean, come on, let's be honest. This is what are we doing here? This is not a comparison as
yeah.
whether for rookie of the year, whether for career overall trajectory, anything. I mean, this is they lost. Yeah, sure. Like Caitlin Clark lost the national title, or at least lost to LSU in the tournament previously. But that was it's a team sport at the end of the day, and I don't know. I don't remember the exact numbers, but I know that Caitlin had a ridiculous uh, contributions that game. I think she had like 30 points, maybe close to a triple double, and it's just kind of like doing everything you can. But I don't know. It'll be. It's been good because for a sport that, for the most part, to be honest, has been ignored most summers. It's kind of been something to kind of pay a little bit of attention to this summer, and it's been exciting. And I know that like I watched some of that WNBA All Star game. I don't watch any All Star games. I hate All Star. I hate the NBA All Star game, the NFL Pro Bowl, the baseball All Star game. Like most of those have been either ruined or just completely diluted to an unwatchable mess. And the WNBA All Star game somehow made its way into one of the more watchable All Star games that I could say probably that I've ever watched.
Yeah, well, I love the format there because they basically have Team USA versus everyone else, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you got some.
And there was a little chip on the shoulder there for the people that didn't get selected. Not just Caitlin, but there were other people on that team that probably felt slighted and like, hey, I can punch up here and kind of show maybe I should have been on this team.
Yeah, Arike. I also don't know how to pronounce her last name, but she balled out that game.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That was entertaining. And moving on and kind of moving on, I guess, in this whole narrative with Caitlin Clark and like witnessing just this greatness that we're seeing is Sohei Otani. And to be honest, we're just so spoiled right now to be in this era of sports where I really don't even think it's recency bias because the record books show that we are really just seeing some things happening in sports that have never happened before. We're seeing some of the greatest players of all time perform at levels that we've never seen anybody perform at all. Start kind of going back to some of the stuff we saw at the Olympics. When people were giving Steph a hard time, he was struggling through the early parts of the Olympics, and then look what happened in the closeout game against France. He reminded everybody, what he's capable of.
Yeah, the goats are definitely goading right now, man.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, LeBron's here showing out still 39, 40 years old. We're seeing Patrick Mahomes throwing behind the back passes. I don't know. It's just not to get into like era comparison or, obviously different GOAT debates get overused and overplayed. But I mean, really, we are seeing players play at a level that is just insane right now. And speaking of which, Shohei Ohtani, fastest ever player to 40 home runs and 40 steals in the same season. Um, and really well on his way to potentially becoming the first person to get to a 50-50 year. And I know we've joked about it, but it's every single night, almost every night you're watching Sports Center late or just catching highlights, and this guy's just hitting home runs to the moon. Just every single ball is just absolutely smoked. And he's leading category. I mean, I know that Judge is having an amazing year too, as far as home runs go. But I mean, you're not going to get a guy that just contributes to all aspects of the game the way that Shohei Ohtani does, better than really any player. And people forget this guy is actually a sub 3 ERA pitcher too. He's just so happens to be taking this year off. So I know they said he was already starting to do some long toss, but I mean, just absurd.
Absurd, man, absurd. Like, yeah, I like it actually slips my mind, like how good this guy is in terms of pitching as well, and can't wait to see him back on the mound. Um, but regarding yesterday's home run, like I think you got to give credit where it's due. His dog actually threw out the first pitch, and like moments later, Shohei Ohtani hit a dinger. And honestly, like I was watching the highlight, and it was like a half swing. Like it almost looked like an oops almost meant to like check swing that and like decide to follow through with it. It looked a little hesitant, and he makes it look so easy, man.
Oh yeah, no, and that's the thing. Everything that he does is so effortless. It just looks so natural, and it's almost like when you see him up at the plate, everything's almost frozen. I mean, every at bat, like you can feel the intensity in the stadium. Where, it's just there are very few players like that. I think back to like Barry Bonds when he was in his home run chase. When it was like every time. I mean, I remember when he was chasing the record, the Hank Aaron record, and they would always cut in to every at bat of his. No matter what else you were watching, and um, you could just feel it. Like every time that he was up to the dish, it felt like it was a playoff game or like a World Series game almost. Every fan's on their seat or up on their feet, paying attention, engaged. Which I feel like that's kind of the way for just these regular season at bats by Shohei. And I don't know if it's just kind of a byproduct of baseball not being quite at the forefront of sports conversations as a whole or not, but I mean it's unbelievable what the guy does day in and day out, and
50
they're
50 would be absolutely insane. And he's going to get there. He's what, 42
yeah.
right now? Like, that's ridiculous. And the crazy thing about Shohei is like, over like the last like 30 to like 40 days, um, okay, he started heating up again now, but like he hadn't actually been playing at his best for like mid July to mid August, and like I think he was hitting around like 249 and over that stretch or something like that. Obviously, he's picked that back up, but like even when he's struggling, his struggle his struggle stats are better than 99.9% of the league. Um, and like the only one who's even in that sentence is simply like Aaron Judge, and like he's just doing it in a different way altogether. But like that's the only conversation there.
Well, that's just what I was going to say is that the guy, he seemingly doesn't even go through slumps. And to your point, his slumps are like, a week or two that would project it out over a whole season would still be incredible output. I mean, there were guys that would be getting big contracts based on his slump output. So, I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
it's unbelievable. It's a guy that he's been 100% as advertised. Everything that we heard about him coming over, he's delivered and more on all of it. So, I know that there might be some Dodgers hate out there, or maybe some Dodgers fatigue, but I'm rooting for them simply because I want to see more Shohei Ohtani playing in October baseball. I want to see him deep in the playoffs and meaningful at bats. To this point, all we've seen is a bunch of sad Angels highlights, and now some regular season greatness with the Dodgers. But it would be really nice to see him kind of have some signature moments as we get into the October playoff run and the pennant chase.
Yeah, 100%, man. I'm glad we're gonna see him, play meaningful games. Obviously, like that's the one thing that always bugged me about Mike Trout. Like, also, up there in that GOAT conversation, but like just not seeing him play meaningful games just because the Angels are that bad, and then obviously injury concerns as well, right? But seeing Shohei for the Dodgers, like I hope they win it all. I do want to witness history, Um, and then he'll be back pitching next year too, which is insane to me.
Yeah, they would always show Mike Trout. He would be at a Philadelphia Eagles game before like the MLB playoffs were even over with. It's like he's already like in the Eagles games, like ready in the off season. It's like, hey, dude, like the Phillies have a playoff game later on tonight.
Yeah,
Maybe get there once in a while.
I do feel like MLB is like the only sport, baseball's the only sport where you can still be in the GOAT conversation without playoff
Oh
success.
yeah, yeah.
Because like ultimately, like it's not on you as a player. Like the whole team has to be performing for you to get there, and it's really like it's not a it's not a blemish or not as big of a blemish on like Mike Trout's career. Like he's still up there in terms of like GOAT status. Um, but still, regardless, the winning a World Series is like that cherry on top, right?
Well, and outside of Shohei Ohtani, there's only so much impact you can have as one player. And I say him, I mention him because it's just a complete outlier because he can actually impact the game from the field, from the plate, and on the mound.
Yeah,
He's a complete unicorn, not just in today's game, but in the history of baseball. But even beyond that, so even there's only so much impact he can even have, even with doing all of that. So, especially a guy who's a great hitter. Look how much, like we said, even with Barry Bonds, he was neutralized because they were just walking him constantly. I think there was something about where if you took away all the intentional walks, like he still would have like led the. I mean, his numbers are wild, wild.
yeah,
I think if you took, I saw something the other day. It's like if you take away his 7 MVP seasons, or did he have? Does that sound right?
something like that. Yeah,
You take away his 7 MVP seasons, he would still be like top 10 in all like home runs, RBIs, steal. Like he would still be in the top. But it's like, yeah. And the joke was, yeah, but he wouldn't have any MVPs. Um,
yeah.
which is,
He
but
wouldn't be a Hall of Famer, which is
yeah, right.
absolutely it's absurd. But that's a
Um,
different conversation, I guess.
Yeah, right, right. But I think that we're going to continue to just see these like crazy video game stats with Shohei. I think we're going to keep getting it. I mean, hopefully he can continue to stay healthy. I know Acuna was kind of doing some pretty wild things before he got hurt, so you'd hate to see that with Shohei. But yeah, no, I'm excited. I want to continue watching more. As we get in further down into the pennant race. Any other baseball thoughts that you had before we?
Yeah. I mean, I guess like the some of the discussion is rosters expanding on Sunday. I think September 1st. I really want to see Jason Dominguez get called up by the Yankees. Like he showed out in that the Little League series the other day. Like they do that game. Where is that, in Detroit or something? I don't know where they play that, but like
It's
the
always somewhere different. Well, because they have different regional sites. So
right, right. So he got called up for that game, which is really cool. I think the Yankees could use him. Like you don't really need to be playing Alex Verdugo when you have Jason Dominguez out there, and I'd love to see that call up happen. I preemptively picked him up in my fantasy baseball league. I'm banking on it. I could use a little help in my outfield, so we'll see, man. I'd love to see that, and just one more threat at the plate for the Yankees. I'd love to see that happen.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I always like seeing when the rosters expand and you do get those guys get the call ups. It's crazy when you see it. I think we saw it even last year with Texas when they were making deep run into the World Series, and they brought up their rookie Wyatt Langford and even Evan Carter, and they're just like, hey, like we want you to get big boy at bats, like big time at bats, and see the bright lights, and he delivered. Those guys delivered.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to see those guys get. You're riding buses all summer long in Aberdeen and in Albuquerque and in all the obscure minor league parks throughout the country. And then next thing you know, you get the call, you're in the show in the playoff chase. So pretty cool there.
Yeah, 100%.
Um, all right. Well, as we roll on into the U.S. Open, I know that there's been a lot made recently with the Alcaraz and Djokovic new kind of budding, not necessarily a rivalry, but certainly it's those are the top two guys in the sport right now that are matching up. They met up in the Olympics, and what was before them? Was it Wimbledon when they met?
Wimbledon, yeah, I think July. Yeah.
Yep. So I think most people would likely lean towards seeing there being some sort of a rematch there in the final. I think it would be a pretty surprising outcome too if at least one of those guys, if not both, didn't make it into the final. So, any thoughts that you had there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing the matchup again. Hopefully, I think we're like early rounds right now, and I know there was a bit of concern about Alcaraz's health for the U.S. Open. I believe there's like an ankle injury or something like that. He hasn't really shown that, at least like not by the numbers. I haven't had the opportunity to really watch so far, but I'll definitely be tuning in for the next couple rounds and. It, I know the odds have definitely shifted to more even odds for Alcaraz and Djokovic. I think they're both sitting at like 2.87. Sorry, I used decimal odds. Um, but 2.87 to win the whole U.S. Open. Um, that was heavily favored to Alcaraz previously. So there might be some lingering effects of that ankle injury or whatever, but I don't think he'll have an issue making the semis or finals even. So really looking to see how that plays out. And for those that are actively making picks on the TENAMINT app, we don't have the U.S. Open on the app at the moment. But as soon as we get to those later rounds, we will definitely have those matchups in there, both men's and women's. Definitely the finals, definitely the semifinals, and possibly quarters as well. So that's all next week, and really looking forward to seeing how that plays out. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, as we kind of trend toward next week, the conversation will be pretty heavily dominated towards NFL Week 1 kickoff season getting started off. As a matter of fact, a week from today, I believe it will
Yeah.
be the start. It'll be opening day, right? It'll be
Yeah.
the first opening Thursday night football kickoff. So that's obviously pretty exciting. We'll have some guys in here making picks. We'll do a couple of like key previews and previewing the season, but a couple of interesting notes here. Your Steelers named Russ Wilson. I know we talked about the last episode, the quarterback kind of battle between Russ Wilson and Justin Fields there. They seem to have named their starter in Russell Wilson. So I was curious to know if you had any thoughts there.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely talked about this last week. I think both of us plus Sam all wanted to see Fields get that job, right? Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, I think we all favored Fields, at least as far as on the eye test and the upside, the potential. I think there was maybe some conversation of realizing that, hey, maybe there was some handshake agreements here with Wilson when he first came that an understanding of sorts that he would be the starter. Because I mean, even in Denver when they went to and that I mean that was a completely different situation altogether with them benching him because they didn't want him to get injured, and I don't know, that
Yeah.
was kind of a mess. But you know, I love Mike Tomlin. He's almost a little bit too loyal sometimes. I'm not sure why he has any reason to have loyalty to Russell Wilson. They've never. I mean, this is the first year, the first training camp they've been through together. But apparently he trusts him, maybe as a leader. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I'll tell you this. I do like it from a fantasy perspective for my guys like Najee Harris and Fairmouth. Like, I think that those guys are going to benefit from Russell Wilson being the quarterback. Ultimately, Justin Fields, as a Steelers fan, unfortunately, like Justin Fields might just be more dynamic at this, with the run game and all of that. And I think that's why I wanted to see Fields out there. But I do think that especially in the end, in the red zone, like looking at those passing, Fairmouth as like a red zone target. I love to see Russell Wilson being the one who's tossing him that ball. Just way more accurate in my opinion. And I think that Freermuth had a ton of red zone targets last year, but they just were like off the mark a little bit. I'm sure he dropped a couple balls, but mostly, they weren't good balls thrown at him. So I do like Freermuth with Russell Wilson as the quarterback, and that moved him up like around in my drafts. I was doing a draft yesterday, and I'm like, cool. Like I always had him on my list, and you're getting him pretty late, and he's got upside. But with Russell Wilson throwing to him, I think he's going to get, his upside's a little higher in terms of, touchdown production. So,
Yeah, well, and the thing with Russell Wilson, he's never had the strongest arm. He's never been the most dynamic passer, but really what's always made him kind of set him apart was his ability to kind of shake loose, get away from pressure, make some off script plays, kind of get out of the pocket, wiggle away from the pass rushers, and then kind of give his guys downfield time to get open. And then he could kind of find them in those like mid intermediate routes, those crossing routes. That's really where they always thrived, right? I mean, it's like he would do it looked like he was like closing his eyes and just chucking the ball into the sky. It would go a mile high straight up and then somehow fall straight into the arms of like Tyler Lockett downfield.
Right.
Like we saw the play over and over again. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like he's kind of lost some of that wiggle and escapability. And that was really the differentiator for him. And when he doesn't have that, he's not going to pick apart teams or, kind of like sit in the pocket and just carve them up. That's not his game. So you're kind of, I don't know. I would be very surprised if we didn't see Justin Fields starting some games at some point this year. I mean, there's no way we're going to see Russell Wilson starting week 1 and every game this season. There's almost no chance of that.
Yeah, I agree 100%, man. And it depends, like, are they winning or not, right? Like a couple losses in a row, and you got to give Fields some looks. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Fields mix it in there, like, at least a couple times a game, man. Just like I don't really know. I don't know if that's something Mike Tomlin would do, but like just that dynamic threat, that switch, like a different look altogether, right? Just to keep teams guessing a bit. And I could see it.
I will say one thing that is encouraging. I am happy that we haven't had, I mean, knock on wood, but that super devastating early like training camp injury, somebody who's just a stud. I mean, like I know the Vikings would maybe say otherwise, they've kind of hit the injury bug with Jordan Addison and JJ McCarthy, but we haven't had that top tier guy just already lose his season where like the early drafters get burned and the people that are chomping at the bit to draft on August 1st and all of a sudden, the guy blows out his ACL and he's done for the year
Yeah.
before they even get to week one. So I am happy we haven't seen that happen. We really haven't. It's been a relatively clean preseason and training camp as far as guys getting new injuries. I know there's like still a little bit of a weird Jamar Chase situation going on, but um, that's lingering. That's been ongoing. That's not a new thing. So uh, that's at least a good thing. I mean, that's really what you hope for. Just get through training camp with without losing any key players, without anybody going down before the season gets started. So happy to see that. I know another quick note here. We saw the Cowboys sign Dalvin Cook. So I don't know. Do they still have Zeke? Is he still coming back? I know Tony Pollard's gone. He's in Tennessee now, but
Yeah, they still have Zeke. They have him. I don't know what his health looks like. I saw a funny little clip the other day from him in camp, and he's just running through like one of those, like, I don't know what you call them, but like not even through players, but like he's running through one of those I don't know, devices that with like the outstretched little chunks of like foam or plastic or whatever it is, and he's like, ow, like he's like he got hurt, like not like seriously injured, but he's like, man, that hurt, like, or something like that. And I'm like, man, those aren't even human beings. Those are little plastic arms. So who knows, man? Obviously, he's not the Zeke we used to know, but I do like the Dalvin Cook pickup for them, and like also not the Dalvin Cook we used to know either. But I don't know, man. It looks cool to see them on the same team, though. Can you
yeah,
imagine a couple years ago? Like, man,
yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that NFC East is certainly going to be interesting as we see kind of what the Eagles seem to take a little bit of a step back last year, but now adding Saquon Barkley, the Redskins, or sorry, the Washington Commanders, um, are with a new rookie quarterback in. New quarterback, new coach. The only thing really that I think we're all going to be certain about in the NFC East is that the Giants are going to be terrible. I think we can all probably agree there, and the Giants aren't going to be surprising us this year or sneaking up on anybody. So
no.
I think we're safe. We're safe there. But anything else that you have your eye on as we head into the final week before NFL kickoff?
No,
This is the last weekend without NFL football, and
yeah,
all the way until what, January? That in between week of the Super Bowl. Um, we have NFL every weekend from this point forward until then.
yeah, man. I'm just looking forward to week one. Obviously, starting off with the Chiefs Ravens, great matchup. I won't get into it too much. I know we gotta save that for next week, but I'm really really excited. Just to get back into football.
Well, and speaking of excited, we are excited to talk about some new app features that we're planning to roll out here in the coming days. So I'm going to pull up a few things and I'm going to let you kind of riff on about what we have planned here. So as we go on, so first thing we'll start off with is the new marketplace, where, as you know, anybody who's already been using the app, you get in there, you make picks, you get points rewarded for making picks. We'll have some new mechanisms coming, in the future on other ways that you can earn points, whether by tuning into the stream or a couple other different ways. But as for now, the way to earn points is making those picks in the Telegram Pick'em app. And now we are planning to roll out a way that you can redeem those picks for a variety of things. So
Yeah,
I'll let you go into that a little bit.
yeah, absolutely, man. This is something that we've been working on for a long time, and we're excited to kind of tease this a little bit. Um, it's been a incredible journey over the last few months, just rolling out the Tenement app in its like most beta of beta forms, seeing that pick up, seeing users jump into it and fully embrace it. rack up those points, especially during the dog days of sports summer. And now we've got a ton of exciting features dropping. This one in particular, the redemption marketplace, we're excited to kind of tease this a bit. Just to let you know some of the amazing prizes that you'll be able to see and redeem your points for. Everything from tenement token, to subscriptions, to things, services like the Athletic, jerseys, tickets. I don't know why that thumbs up always pops up. Anything from like
Hey, that's why.
jerseys.
That's the alpha.
Exactly. Jerseys, tickets, subscriptions, tenement token, gift cards. What else am I missing? Like, and honestly, like, if you want to see it on there, like, just shoot us a message, man. We're definitely open to community input there, and we're just really excited to. Sorry, there's a fly there. We're really excited to kind of see, and have these reward points be redeemable in the very, very near future. Now we'll have the marketplace page live when these updates roll out. But the redemption option won't be just live just yet, but you'll at least be able to kind of see where those points can be dedicated towards and all the amazing things that you can redeem them for. So yeah, that's one I'm really, really excited about. And it's like,
Yeah, because it's one thing to, be racking up points and earning and making picks, but, ultimately I think people want to know what they're working towards, what they're going to be able to earn with it. And like I said, I mean, we got a lot of new ways rolling out as far as new ways to earn these type of points. But this is just kind of a little bit of a sneak peek into what you're going to be able to do, what those points mean, and where you're going to be able to spend them, or at least allocate them. So, on top of this marketplace, we also, I mean, we're completely revamping the entire way that the app looks, right? Like in the way that the pick mechanism looks. We're kind of like really keeping the same game here, but giving a little bit more of a cleaner look. Letting people see. Sorry, as we get you'll still be able to see those percentages as far as the picks go. But now it'll be a little bit easier, picking teams on the left or the right, a little bit more of a head to head pick them. We'll still be obviously featuring the leaderboard, showing kind of those monthly, weekly prizes, leaderboards, still have those cash prizes for that, as well as the point bonuses. So,
yeah, and this is one I'm really excited about as well. Like, previously on the app, picking between teams. I know we got that GIF on a bit of a cycle there, but picking between teams before, we had both teams on the right, and we really wanted to kind of create this like head-to-head feeling that you're kind of seeing there, where you've got team one, team two, Toronto Raptors versus Cavs or whatever. On opposite sides, you got the score, the time, the league in the middle, and the points earnable for each team kind of underneath the team. Now, those are still standard at 10, for every single matchup at the moment, but we are very excited to kind of roll that into weighted reward points depending on the odds of that game. So, being an alternative to sports betting that's completely free to play, we still wanted to keep the element of odds, but without it being so, without it having the learning curve, without it having the complexity of odds. And so what you'll see is simply the reward points underneath the team name, and those will be weighted according to the odds, but without the odds really being displayed in front of your face. And what that allows is for new sports fans who aren't really on the sports betting, in the sports betting world, they'll be able to just make an informed decision on like cool underdog or favorite according to the points earned and the potential earnings, I guess, for each different team, right? So really, really excited about that rolling out in the future, and putting those points underneath the team is really the first step towards that. Man, that whole design of like the picks how we make our picks. That's like inspired by scoreboards and things you see in the stadium and that real head-to-head feel. So yeah, definitely excited about that. And you'll see every team has their their official colors as the when once you select them, like it gets fully highlighted. So yeah, super thrilled about that. And as always, you can share your picks quite easily just by hitting the share button in the top right of every pick.
Yeah, for sure. And I know you were kind of getting into what things were inspired by, but we also take inspiration from the community. And people, if you want to see stuff, or there's certain features or different ways that people in the community that are out there they want to see, let us know. Fire us a tweet, fire off in the comments, whatever. It's not. Uh, these are things that we would like to look at and see how we can kind of cater the game more towards the people that are playing it, so don't be shy.
Yeah, 100%. And honestly, when it comes to the leaderboard and stuff like that, we're excited about those updates as well. Like nothing too major on the leaderboard side, but improved like spacing, little minor details that really help. You kind of see, where you rank up against your competitors and stuff like that. And kind of speaking about that, we are at the end of August, so are you able to bring up the current top 10?
I can.
Yeah, just a couple days left to go, and yeah, just really excited to we're going to have a fresh start in September, but really excited to reward some of the the top ranking um, users of the month, right? And I know it's a pretty tight race for those top three spots. D Blaine obviously at the top. He's been killing it this month, especially on those UFC picks. I actually think I just saw something where he picked the UFC fight night that was that last week or the week before? He actually got all six correct there, which is incredible. Zancho, not too far behind, and that's ground that you can make up in a couple of days with all the college football that's on there right now. Zoom 64, just 30 points behind Sancho, and then you're there. You've got honestly one through to like seven are all kind of in the race there. So a couple days left. Get your picks in for the rest of August, and then we'll kick it back up with September with NFL and all of that kind of coming into action. So really excited about that.
Yeah, no, and as we were saying, like there's going to be ways to continue to get more points. Keep racking these up. Obviously, we have football coming in. We just have EPL that got added in. That season's just 2 weeks underway. So, as the cash prizes keep rolling out, as we get a couple of partners that we're talking with, that we'll maybe start doing some other different giveaways, getting some other creative ways to kind of reward people for both playing and tuning in. So
Yeah.
little teaser there to kind of get people excited about as we move towards into the fall.
100%. And some other things that you'll see on the app once the update goes live. Aiming for tomorrow for that, by the way. You'll see an upgraded dashboard. Right now, this is your dashboard as it stands. However, the new dashboard will be much more reward kind of focused. Obviously, we know that our users, our community, they come in to make picks, but they also come in to earn those reward points and cash them out as well. So you'll be able to see a few different options on how you can gain rewards. Be able to see your progress bar in terms of tiers and goals and stuff like that. You'll see your streaks. You'll see notifications in the top right letting you know if you've won something or there's a wicked opportunity popping up. And then quick access to your missions, which will, like Zach was kind of teasing a bit, but there'll be a lot more ways to earn points. Now, for our competitive people in here, you should know that the points that you earn from like missions and things like that, non-sports pick related, do not affect your monthly leaderboard or your weekly leaderboard, but you still rack up those points that can be redeemed on the marketplace. And that's just, designed to say, hey, look, competition comes first, sports comes first. We're all competitive people. We're all picking sports, and that'll stay kind of true to the game, which is very core at for what we do at Tenement. So yeah, really thrilled about that. And then the last major update that we're rolling out at the same time here is the onboarding experience. So every user will actually go through this once, even if you're already a Tenament user. We just wanted to kind of be able to show that to everyone and kind of preview some of the things we're talking about here. But every user will kind of go through a very quick but effective kind of walkthrough on what Tenament's about, how giving explanations to how the picks work, what you can do with those reward points, and then also pick things like your favorite sports, eventually like your favorite leagues, teams, players, or whatever, all to kind of develop one to build your own preferences that can kind of allow us to kind of gear the way the app is organized to your preferences. But in addition to that, also let us know like, hey, we've got, everyone on the app's a tennis fan. Like, okay, cool. We should be, showing showing tennis a little bit more prominently, or people really want to see F1 in there. Just kind of giving us those, letting us know what your favorite sports are just going to allow us to build better and give you, the users, the community, exactly what you're looking for. So really, really excited about that. And then we did also tease a bunch of other features that are coming out soon as well in that update. If you go to our Twitter page, you can see read the full thing. Yeah, super excited about that. And yeah, one of many, many major improvements that we're really looking forward to bringing you guys.
Yeah, and this is just the Pick'em app, right? I mean, ultimately, we're kind of steering towards being a hub of fan engagement, and the Pick'em app and this Pick'em challenge is really just kind of the tip of the iceberg when it comes to that. And like we said, as we've alluded to and teased, there's going to be a lot more ways to earn, not only within that app, but just within the community as a whole, and different ways to earn points and kind of rack up those tenement points to be able to be used for, as we said, merchandise, experiences, other ways to kind of continue to enhance your fandom. So, like we said, it's a hub for sports fan engagement, and that's ultimately what we're kind of fashioning ourselves to be.
100%, 100%. And part of that is this right here, Tenement TV, is going to be a very critical part of what we're doing at Tenement, and we're bringing you obviously news, reward earning opportunities, things like that. So you'll start to see you know opportunities for you to earn reward points just by being here on Tenement TV. Engaging in the chat, maybe you want to get on stage, whatever it is, like those opportunities are going to be there for you in the future. So make sure you're tuned in, logged into Tenement TV. We're going to be sticking with this 2 p.m. Thursday time slot. And then we've got really exciting stuff in collaboration with Wolf Sports, right? Where, we partnered with Wolf Sports to really bring you top tier content throughout the week, which is really exciting. Wolf Sports is a hub for sports focused Twitter Spaces and all of that, and they have a ton of content creators that are putting out quality content, and those spaces are absolutely they get good. It's
Yeah.
like, I was gonna say must watch. It's like must listen Twitter content, sports content, and we're really excited about that. I don't have their schedule in front of me right now, but do you know when the spaces are scheduled for the
Yeah,
next?
I was gonna say. So we co-host with them Mondays at 8 p.m. Friday. This is all in Eastern time. So Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern, Friday and Saturday both at 5 p.m. Eastern. So
Yeah,
Fridays, this Friday, tomorrow, we're going to be talking, gambling, betting picks, just some general, sports picks heading into the weekend. Uh, and then Saturday is more of a UFC focused space. So
Yeah, 100%. And then one other partnership and thing we have going on right now that we're super excited about is that Tenement has, is working with, Metapool and has submitted a grant proposal there for some very geared um, prize related content and educational related content that's actually going to bring the community, you guys, more value in terms of weekly prizes and sponsored prize packs and earning potential. So if you haven't checked that out, obviously, I believe it's a pinned tweet on our Twitter page. So check that out. Put your votes in and help us help you by bringing you more rewards. Yeah.
yeah, no, absolutely. A lot of exciting stuff, a lot of big changes coming. And as we've said, it's all very, it all kind of coincides with the sports season ramping up as well. So, it kind of all comes together. It's a lot, as we've said over and over, but a lot of alpha come down the pipe. So,
Yeah.
very, very
Well,
excited.
we've been gearing up
Um,
for this moment, right? Like that's the name of the game. We've been gearing up for this moment in the sports calendar, and I say that from like the tenement, development perspective as well. We've really kind of geared what we're working on to make sure that we're bringing you the best experience here in this moment. At this part of the calendar, and with all this stuff kind of ramping up. So, yeah, really, really, really excited, and that doesn't stop here. We are constantly making improvements, constantly bringing you updates, and bringing you new opportunities to, one, earn those rewards, and two, very soon redeem them as well.
Yeah, for sure. So speaking of which, we will kind of transition a little bit into this big college football slate that we have kicking off tonight. Not the overall best selection of games tonight in particular, but hey, it's football, right? So we're not going to complain. Minnesota and North Carolina is probably one of the better games on the docket tonight. We have I want to say it's like North Carolina's favored by maybe a point or two, 2.5 maybe. Essentially, it's a pick'em game. That's number one game that I'll have my eye on tonight, and another one is Colorado and North Dakota State. So, as people know, Colorado big storylines with Deion Sanders there as the head coach last year, shaking things up, and his son Shadur at quarterback. More likely than not, going to be a top 10 pick at worst in the draft next year, and as well as his counterpart or his teammate Travis Hunter, who in a way almost like the Shohei Ohtani of college football, where this guy plays nearly every snap on both offense and defense, and the way that he impacts the game is insane on both ends of the field. So, whether you love or hate Dion and all the shtick and all the fanfare around him, they're still must watch because, like I said, I mean, Shadur is an electric player to watch, and Travis Hunter, it's just unique to see somebody, impact the game from both sides of the ball like that.
Do you, do you think
And
there's any chance the NFL team would use them on both sides of the ball?
I don't see why not. I think if you don't, you're kind of, I mean, the guy is in insane physical condition. And I was reading something about that actually earlier this morning about how he conditions himself to play the entire game. I mean, that's kind of what his goal. He wants to be out there and be ready for all units. Now, the game kind of speeds up a little bit when you get into the NFL, but I don't know. I mean, I think you'd kind of be. What are you getting him for then? If you're not going to kind of utilize all of his talents. I mean, last year some of the plays he made some eye popping plays on both sides of the ball last year. So it's not like he's just a charity case on defense. I mean, the guy's making like diving interceptions and picking off balls that where it looks like he's has no chance getting his hands on, and he's making picks. So I remember in that opening game, TCU game last year, where it was the guy was making insane plays all over the field, and I know he missed a couple of games with injury, but otherwise, like I said, they are must watch. But the thing with Colorado is they're not a team to really trust. They're not the most trustworthy just because there are teams like Clemson who says we're not going to use the transfer portal. We're not going to get any players from transfers. I either want you to commit here and stay here or not. And then you have teams like Colorado that source their entire team from the transfer portal. I mean, they almost have turned over. I mean, outside of those guys, Shadur and Hunter, a lot of their roster has been turned over. And that's fine for a lot of position groups, but where they really, really struggled last year was on the offensive line. And Shadur was running for his life all season long because, you need chemistry. You need to be able to play together and have some familiarity on the offensive line. So that's where I think it hurts them. And, offensive coordinator, they have Pat Shermer, who former NFL head coach. He's run some pretty bad offenses in the NFL as well. Very old school conservative style offense, so would not have been my first choice there for OC, but hey, we'll see what happens. North Dakota State, traditionally a somewhat of a powerhouse on the FCS side of things. They've produced between Carson Wentz and I'm drawing a blank. Who was the other quarterback that he was drafted by the Niners and now he's on the Cowboys? He was like the top 3 pick.
Yeah.
Didn't pan out at all so far. Running quarterback. I
Trey
can't
Lance.
think
Yeah,
of
yeah.
Trey Lance. Trey Lance. That was the other guy that
I didn't even know he was on the Cowboys.
But yeah. I think he's their backup behind Dak. And so I will say with that, this is not your father's North Dakota State. This isn't the same team that's been competitive and been a pretty buttoned up operation. So I don't know. I think we could see Colorado maybe run away with this one a little bit tonight. Get everybody all hyped up on the Dion train again. And then that's the time when I'd start fading them. So, like I said, between that, Minnesota, North Carolina, that's going to be more of a coin flip game. Some of the bigger games that we have going into Saturday, Georgia, Clemson, that's number 1 versus number 14. Georgia, 2 touchdown favorite. I would probably expect them to hold serve there. They are number 1 for a reason. I think they're a cut above Clemson. I don't have a lot of faith in Cade Klubnik there. As I said, Clemson doesn't use the transfer portal, which if you're not, it's just you're getting left behind because I don't advise to do the Colorado way where you're exclusively building your team through the transfer portal, but it's essentially filling in holes from free agency, and you can kind of fill in some gaps and pick up a couple of pieces here and there, guys with experience, not just bringing in, necessarily true freshmen and guys that have kind of played with other programs and get better opportunity. But I don't know. I mean, you kind of have, if you're not doing it, you're getting left behind. And that's where you saw programs like Stanford that decided they weren't going to use NIL or the transfer portal. I mean, look how fast they've just completely fallen apart as a pretty strong football program. And they're just
I don't
not
get it.
even
Why would you not use it?
I think it was a little bit of like a fundamental mindset of, it's the thought process of, hey, not wanting to dilute the game. These kids are amateurs. They're there for school. They're there for, but ultimately we've been seeing for a while the way that this has been trending all the way back to Cardale Jones at Ohio State when he said, we ain't come here to play school.
Right.
We came here to play football. It's, and whether you like it or not, if you don't embrace that mentality, you're going to get left behind and you're not going to be competitive. So you can either adapt or, as I kind of liken it to in college basketball when we had the years when the one and dones were so prevalent, and there were a few programs that were adamantly opposed to it, like Coach K. Well, we're not doing the one and done thing. That's just Cal and Kentucky. Like we like to develop people here. Well, lo and behold, it didn't take very long before Coach K
Right.
adapted into the one and done. Just so you have to adapt
Yeah, you
or
can't you
die
can't be stuck in that
ultimately. And
mindset, right? You just always got to be adjusting to the landscape, right?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you know, like I said, I mean, between Georgia's going to be up there. I don't know that they'll finish the season off number one. They do have a tougher schedule this year than they have the last couple of years. They've kind of had a cakewalk, and then I know last year they were pretty mad about getting left out of the playoff, but this year with the expanded playoff, they're let's face it, they're going to be in. They're going to be in those top 12 teams. They're going to be in the playoff. Them, Ohio State, Oregon. I think those are three teams you can just go ahead and put it down. They're mark off three of the
Right.
12 spots right away. So Penn State, West Virginia, another game that I'd watch. I'd keep an eye on for Saturday. Penn State in the top 10, but not a overwhelming favorite. And I could see things maybe getting a little tricky for them in Morgantown. So that's a game I would have my eye on. Miami versus Florida, playing in the swamp. I think that game's at 3:30 in the afternoon. Which, if you can imagine, in Gainesville, Florida, in the swamp, what that temperature is going to be like at 3:30 in the afternoon. You're gonna see some guys dropping out there. I think we'll get the slow mo of like the guy lifting up his face mask and puking out of his side of his helmet, but. That's another good one that I'd keep my eye on. I like Miami there. I think Cam Ward, transfer quarterback. He's dynamic, electric passer. Probably get drafted to the NFL next year. He is the quarterback for Miami, so that's the guy to keep an eye on there. And then Notre Dame, Texas A&M, 7 versus 20. Everybody gives Notre Dame a hard time because they don't play in a conference, but I mean, you look at their schedule and they definitely line up some tough opponents. I mean, they are not shying away from just because they don't play in a conference. I mean, they're still kind of loading up their schedule. So they're another team that I think I like to get into the playoff there. So that is the roundup for Saturday. Two more games, just interesting note. Sunday, we have Sunday college football, so I would keep an eye out there. USC, LSU, USC moving into the Big Ten this year. They still have Lincoln Riley. Obviously, Caleb Williams has moved on, but their quarterback, Miller Moss, just sounds like a ball player, right?
I was gonna say that. I'm
Yeah,
sold, man. I'm
yeah,
sold.
yeah,
I see the
yeah,
last name Moss. I'm
yeah,
sold,
yeah.
man. I don't care if it's Randy Santana or Miller, man.
Yeah, we know that they're going to be a high flying offense. They're going to have talent probably at wide receiver and tight end. The question for USC, as always, will be how can their defense hold up? New DC there. And then LSU, another team that is going to, they have a new quarterback. Their quarterback was one of the other top drafted guys, Jaden Daniels. So both of these teams lost their quarterback to top 5 picks in the draft, but they definitely reloaded with talent. You're going to see a lot of points in this game on Sunday. You're going to probably see both teams scoring in the 30s, if not higher. Neither team plays any defense at all, and both teams have a lot of talent on offense. So you're going to see some fireworks on Sunday, USC, LSU. And the last thing of note, so Florida State comes back from there. They lost as a big favorite to Georgia Tech in Ireland. Now they return to play Monday against Boston College, with Bill O'Brien making his head coaching debut at Boston College. Previously, he's obviously been around the NFL. He's been an assistant for Nick Saban at Alabama. He's been in the Patriots. He's been with Penn State. So, in very unique position for him. I was surprised to see him take that Boston College job, but I think this is probably a good bounce back spot for Florida State. They were very disappointing last week, but I could see them kind of bouncing back here and maybe thumping Boston College. But we'll see. We'll see. But that is the wrap on college football. As we head into this weekend, like I said, obviously a lot of big opportunities there to rack up points. Really every night from now until Monday. In football alone, we still have baseball. We'll still have WNBA in there, and we have EPL picks as well. So keep firing away. Keep an eye out for the rebrand coming out. Any closing thoughts that you have, Sal, to add as we head on into the weekend?
Nope. I think that pretty much does it. Really looking forward to kind of seeing how that monthly August leaderboard shapes out, especially between those top 7 there. If you're not in that top 10, it's all good. Get your practice picks in this weekend, and September 1st is around the corner. And man, it's a new month, new prizes, and yeah, keep an eye out for the app updates as well. So yeah, an absolute pleasure as always, and we'll pick it up next week.
I was gonna say if you want to join the stream, maybe be a guest picker, make some picks, make some points, fire off some hot takes, shoot into the DMs at Play Tenement, fire off maybe into the Telegram group as well. So let us know what you want to see, what you want to talk about, what if you want to jump into the discussion, let us know. So we will keep an eye out there. We'll be eagerly awaiting the new launch. And make sure that you tune into our co-hosted space with Wolf both tomorrow at 5 p.m. and Saturday at 5 p.m.
Sounds
Eastern.
good. I'll see you there, man.
And with that, we'll ride off into the weekend, and we will see you guys on the next one.
See you guys then.